Hello and welcome to Assertiveness, the show that gives ordinary South Africans a space to talk about things that really matter. Today's episode is actually very electrifying, very exciting, very synonym of exciting. I can't think of one right now, but we've got our resident pastors that are here today to discuss tithes with us, and we've got Madam. When's our Instagram eyebrows? Instagram eyebrows. For those who don't know our resident pastors, I'd like them to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about who they are, where they're from, Bayanzani, Ganjani. Anyway, we'll start with Pastor August. Hello, sir.
Hello, how is it, Nico?
I'm good, and how are you?
Thanks. My name is Tabo. I'm from Guatemala. I'm a pastor in Guatemala, husband, a father, and it's an honor to be here.
Ladies, he said husband and a father, so play far. Play very far. Anyway, moving along.
I'm Ayandisa, and I'm 24, and I'm from Davidson.
What do you do, Ayandisa?
I have something in pipeline, so right now I call myself an entrepreneur.
Oh, you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Awesome. It's a trendy thing these days to be an entrepreneur in South Africa. We hope you're going to be an entrepreneur that makes money.
Of course. That's
because, you know, I'm under my MD, guys. People are like MDs and CEOs. Companies are not making money. They're not trading. Who are you MDing? Anyway, moving quite along. Pastor.
Hi, I am Sandy Lemukwena from Guatemala. Yes. I'm known as a pastor, and I'm an IT guy.
Known as a pastor?
I'm a pastor.
Oh, so why are you saying known as a pastor?
I mean, that's what people know about me.
That's all they know about you, that you're just a pastor?
I'm a pastor and I do IT.
What do you do in IT?
I used to be an ordinary field technician.
Okay. So have you dropped that and you're now being a minister, or?
I'm now doing service coordination. Oh. So I'm like coordinating FSEs now.
So ubizu wabereka during the week, and then during the weekends, pastor all the time. I'm just kidding, man. As we said, the conversation today is going to be about tithes, and whether, okay, we get that, we all understand. I-tithe ikona, kuyabhadalwa, i-tithe. But i-tithe ayifani nomnikelo, right? We need to just clarify that from the start. Tithe is not the same as a Sunday offering. It's two different things. So if you are at home and you're sitting there and you're like, Nicola is going to disagree against umnikelo, that is not what I'm doing. What I would like us to discuss is not umnikelo, but tithe rather. What is tithe? Pastor.
Okay.
Pastor, any pastor can just jump in.
Well, tithe, the term tithe refers to, or is commonly used to mean 10%.
Okay.
10% of income, 10% of spoils, 10% of salary, 10% of produce, just 10%. There are 3 types of tithes that I'm aware of. Maybe Fundis will help me. I know that there was a tithe in the Old Testament. There was tithe for the Levites. There was tithe for the poor, widows, fatherless, orphans. And then there was a festival tithe. Festival tithe was the one that was where the tither, the person who is tithing, actually is entitled to chowing the tithe themselves.
Okay.
Themselves with their families.
Okay.
We're going to inform you also.
Hey, you are informing me. This is information. So this festival happened when? When did the festival tithe happen?
I would like to think it was 3 years. Okay. Because there would be, look, first of all, it was farmers who tithed.
Yeah.
It was not the general public.
Okay.
So that's an issue right there. So there was no monetary exchange when it came to tithing. It was farmers who tithed using livestock and
your fattest cow, your fattest sheep.
What's the other stuff?
Food.
Yeah, crops. Yeah, so it was livestock and crops. So 10% of that would be brought in, and then every third year, on the third produce, that 10% of the third produce would then be given to the poor and the Levites and so on. You understand? goodbye party for them. Hopefully they survive with that much for the next 3 years until the next third year where it comes back to them again. So there was something like that. Then there was that festival tithe that every produce you could take for yourself, but on the third one you must give it out.
Okay, so but your understanding of tithe is obviously coming from a biblical perspective. Ayandisa, what is your understanding of tithe coming from a non-biblical perspective?
Oh, that's a tough one because I've been brought up in a Christian home, and
No. What I'm saying is he's backing it up with Levites, and he's backing it up with obviously information that the common man might not know unless you've studied the Word of God and Book of God. Yes.
My understanding of tithe, not coming from a biblical perspective, is giving off your 10% to whatever God you believe in.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Okay. Whether it is, out of monetary value or financial value or your gifts or from your own personal capacity, resources, that would be, in my understanding, that's a tithe.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're going to give us a biblical perspective too. So we'll not get into that. What I want to ask is, can my time be tithe?
Basically, with issues of tithing, currently, the current status quo concerning tithing is an emphasis on money.
Okay.
And basically, tithing is not just money, as Umfundis has clarified. So time can, in essence, be tithing. I've heard many ministers minister on that we have 24 hours in a day, and each day one has to spend at least 2 hours, 40 minutes. And that would be considered a tithe.
Okay.
However, those things are actually decision things. It's decision based, because basically when we look at the issues of tithe from that perspective, the reason for the institution of tithing, when Moses reinstated it after Abraham and Jacob, because Abraham and Jacob are a different topic altogether. When Moses brought it in as a legal thing, he brought it in for the purpose of taking care of the Levites. Okay. Because Levites were not supposed to have inheritance, which means they were not supposed to own land. That's why we have so many issues today.
So it was like a tax?
Yeah, it was like tax, and that tax is taken. Okay. And there's a grant paid.
So then SARS right now could have been what Moses had done.
Exactly, because even David did that. It was called government tithe.
Yes.
David would collect tithe, and he'd also then distribute it among his officials.
So ultimately what we're saying, tithe is supposed to be taking care of those who actually do not have, almost like the poor.
Yeah, people who don't have a way to actually be taken care of.
Okay.
Because Levites, by the way, they could have farmed like everybody. They could have got into trade like everybody. But God then decided to take the Levite tribe as his own.
Okay.
Yeah, replacing the firstborn from all the tribes of Israel. So Levi became God's firstborn. So they were supposed to be focusing on making sure that Israel is taken care of as far as their relation to God is concerned. So God had to take care of them. So it's an issue of God taking care of the one he has instructed not to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I hear you. I can collect that in my head. I'm like, okay, ngiyamuzwa. My next question is, do we have to tithe? What is obligating us to tithe? What is saying you must tithe? Because it's not a law. Because, mind you, I'm already being taxed. So, in actual fact, if we're going to go back to why we're tithing, as you had explained, I'm doing my obligation. Because by tithing, my employer takes my money. Sometimes we don't even discuss it. It just goes, and it's a lot of money. So, if I'm going to look at it in that perspective, then I'm being tithe.
Okay.
I'm being tithe. Now, what I want to know is, do I still have to tithe? Because I'm taking care of the poor.
Here's the thing. Yes. What makes God so different from every other God is he's not a dictator.
Which God is this? What makes a Christian God?
A God.
Or any God?
God, the creator of heaven and earth. That God.
No. We come from different religions. We all get taught different things. So when you say God who made heaven and earth...
I'm talking about from a Christian God.
That's what I was asking. Are you talking about the Christian God?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
He is not a dictator.
Okay.
And he is a God who is just and a God of love. Nowhere in the Bible does it say you're forced to tithe. However, it does mention that God does love a cheerful giver. So you're not obligated to tithe. He's not holding a gun to your head. I think we get it confused as believers because we are manipulated by spiritual leaders, no offense, to force us to tithe. To tithe that is a forceful thing. And I feel like they recognize the financial offering that you give, but they don't necessarily want to acknowledge the spiritual or the other gifts that you might have that could benefit those who want to hear the gospel. Example. And it takes time. I mean, you rehearse 2-twice a week. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're a working person.
Exactly.
So it's time.
Exactly. And also, it could also be a thing of ushering people in. If you have that gift of service and you just want to usher people in, or help with the parking lots on a Sunday or a Saturday morning, do it. But as Christians, our pastors don't emphasize that enough as they would the financial part of tithing.
Of tithe, okay.
Yes.
I hear you.
I want to get into that because we must be careful to validate certain pains that people have been feeling as far as finances are concerned.
Okay.
Because such questions and such debates would then, people would be waiting to hear what I have to say concerning tithing so that they can hold on to something.
Yes, and can hold you against it, hold it against it. Yeah.
They can stop tithing based on what I've said. So I want us to bring clarity to this thing. Ministry, in essence, there are ministers. I myself want to work. I believe that I want to work for my family, and I believe that you need to work for a family, as Umfundisi is working. So I believe, Wuti, there will come a time whereby you have to stop working, focus on ministry. More especially if you start traveling. They invite me now, spread, they invite me everywhere. I can't be at work and be there at the same time. So I have to stop working and focus on that. Now the tithe assists me as a minister of the gospel to be able to take care of my affairs at home.
Okay.
Because it plays the role of a salary. You understand? It assists me in the sense that, because honestly speaking, we need to think that men of God are husbands and fathers. And as husbands and fathers, they need to put food on the table. And the person who is called is the man of God. He has a heart of understanding when you can't tithe. But his wife and his children, they are not of the same level, And we can't at the expense of the family promote and propagate something that will create even divorces in the families. Because pastors are divorcing because there's no money, there's no finances. So in my opinion, as a church, we need to come to a place where we take care of our pastors. Okay, we can call it tithing, we can call it whatever, but the responsibility of taking care of the man of God really lies on the church.
On the congregation.
Yeah, the congregation, because he has this heart for them. He's there for them. You understand? So I think that is detrimental, that is important, because it's possible to abuse a man of God.
Okay, it's possible to abuse a man of God, but then it's also very possible to abuse this idea of tithing in the spirit of taking care of the pastor. Because if I think about it, I have seen plenty of churches where not only are you contributing every single month or every single annually, to the church itself. We are building a church. Then tomorrow we're starting a garden. Then tomorrow it's this. Then tomorrow it's that. In that, you still must tithe. So the question that I had locked in my head to say I'm going to ask this question was, who exactly are we tithing for? Because initially you had said the tithe was for the Levites. So now you've actually just answered my question before I can even ask it, is that we are now tithing to take care of the man of God. The man that's been called by God, who therefore is being declared that you cannot work. It's like as God had called on the Levites, you are my people, you cannot work, you cannot own land, therefore we need to get somebody to pay for you. Is that the same thing as the man of God? Is that I've called upon you to do a service for my people, therefore you cannot work and the congregation must take care of you?
Not necessarily, because basically the dynamics are different now. Then a Levite was expected to not work.
Okay.
Today, a pastor is not expected to not work. And so, yes, it's true that the system of tithing has been abused. Simply because it has been abused because as a church, we have developed, I don't know, when it comes to money, we become sensitive.
Very.
Yeah, we have developed this complex that makes the pastor suspicious in front of us when he starts talking about money. And yet we forget that this man is a man like everybody, like every man in this house, you know?
Just hold it. We need to go to a quick ad break. Just need a quick ad break. And then when we come back, we're going to carry on with the conversation about who exactly are we tithing for? Who are we paying? And also, how much? Because these churches have like hundreds of people. If we all tithing our 10%, guys, we're talking about a huge sum of money. Don't go away.